Greetings people, it's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transformers review. So thank you for sticking with this so far. We're doing the Generation 1 Protectobot team in much the same way that we did the Generation 1 Stunticons quite a few weeks back. So we're getting the team members out of the way, the limb members, and then we're going to move on to the body, and then finally the last review is going to be the combined form, as I previously mentioned. So we're going to be looking at the last team member, the last limb in this team, Ratchet's replacement, if you will. Well, that's you take a look at the figure and you just think, why? Just why? Why did they choose this? But ladies and gentlemen, this is the review for Generation 1 First Aid. Okay, so here is First Aid in his ambulance mode. Let me just see what sort of ambulance it is. It's a Toyota Master Ace Surf ambulance. That means less than fuck all to me. But this is 1986, ladies and gentlemen, and they've killed Ratchet and they've killed Prowl and things like that. So obviously they need a medic. So how do they replace G1 Ratchet? They replace G1 Ratchet with this tiny, inconsequential, poxy little thing, which actually would get a lot worse by the time it got around to the Micromasters and you had fix it. But yeah, not much of a substitute for Ratchet, really. I mean, I know Ratchet's toy was a bit questionable because it didn't have a head, and a lot of people bitch and moan about that and everything like that. But I mean, at the same time, it's quite an iconic design, and it's still kind of cool as a result. The First Aid, on the other hand, is a very generic little bot. Again, he's a team member. So let's see some of the things that First Aid came with. He came with this massive double blaster that fits into the back of the alt mode for his attack mode, which I will show in a minute. And he comes with this tiny little handheld weapon. Again, many thanks to KJ for sending this to me to do the review. Okay, so let's get the attack mode out of the way. Stick the gun in this port at the back. Now, one would argue that an attack mode for an ambulance is a bit out of place. And you're absolutely right. This is probably the one attack mode out of all these double cannon things that actually works the most, due to how low to the actual ambulance roof this gun is. Okay, because it's so low to the ambulance, it doesn't go against the overall design, if you see what I mean. Like all the other, because the other guns are like so high up and everything like that, and they're obviously tacked on. Yes, this is obviously tacked on, but at the same time, it's because it's so low to the roof, it actually kind of works in its favor. However, having said that, it's still an attack mode, and therefore fundamentally in its design and its execution is still a piece of shit. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. So First Aid is a little ambulance, and as I say little, he's very little. I don't really know what to say about him. In terms of the stickers, I mean, I put the emergency ones on. They were not easy to apply and try to line up. And because of the break in the back of the ambulance, it kind of looks like they haven't lined up. But believe me, I've got them about as good as they were ever likely to get. Also, this one just here and this one just here is stickers where everything else is painted on. So if you're seeing a slight difference in colour there, that'll be why. And the only other stickers he's got are on his chest section just here. So yeah, in terms of his transformation, ladies and gentlemen, because there's not really a lot else you can say about the ambulance as it stands. It is what it is, and it's not brilliant. In terms of the robot mode though, and the transformation, this does tend to follow what you think it's going to do. So this one here, if you think it's going, the transformation is going to go a certain way based on its design, yeah. You're right. This is probably the one that harkens back closest to sort of, I don't know, G1 Wild Rider or Dead End or anything like that. So let's move on into the transformation. We'll pull the back of the ambulance. Pull it out. Fucking Jesus Christ, this is tight. Or is that about okay, maybe that's about as far as it's supposed to go. And then flip it out like this. Right, okay, I see what I'm doing. I'm a fucking idiot. Pull the front of the ambulance back like that. I'll come on to that in a minute. And then stand him up. and then pull his side sections out if you can, or throw them. It's entirely up to you. And then bring those forward a little bit, and that is Generation 1 First Aid in robot mode. It's again, it's a lacking robot mode because I mean, look at it. The face is all right. I mean, I'll give them props on the cartoon that they did recreate the toy faces pretty much perfectly. But again, no discernible detail there because they've painted the whole thing white. Again, you can see a little bit of detail in there for his hands and his arms, but there's not really a lot going on there. He's got very, very impressive tire tits, and that's about it. Except this right at the back, this is bullshit. This is kibble of the highest order. This is Weird Wolf levels of fucking kibble, right? In a miniature form. That looks like crap. That looks like crap. Wouldn't it have been nice if that had just been like like Groove, for example? Groove had the same thing. You detach the front of the vehicle, you spin it around, and you put it down. If they'd have been able to spin this around, so the back was upside down and then covering this bit here, it wouldn't have been resting on this light bar for a start. It would have just like twisted around and folded out, and that would have been a very neat, tidy little transformation. It would have gone some way to saving the figure as a result. But as they haven't done that, I've got to mark it down. So let's give him his little gun. The pacifist. Let's give the pacifist his weapon. And there we are. That is Generation 1 First Aid, ladies and gentlemen, in robot mode and ready for business, whatever business that might be. And he's not great. He's not great. But then again, he's a team member. I don't know how many times I've got to say that. Let down massively by the overarching gimmick of the team, and which is a shame because if he wasn't in a position to be able to get all the team members, maybe you got Hotspot, or maybe you didn't get any other combiners, right? Maybe you only got the Protectobots, right? And you've got Hotspot, and you've got, I don't know, Groove if you were lucky enough, and Blaze or whatever. Supposing you were missing just one team member or two team members. And it's a shame that the overall robot modes for those individual team members have been let down because of a gimmick that you weren't able to complete. But there we are. That's Generation 1 First Aid. Not a fantastic figure. Yeah, that's about as much as I can say. His head will actually form the connector, and like Streetwise for the combined mode. But I'll come on to that when I do the combined mode. For the time being, that is Generation 1 First Aid. Just existing, really, just being there, part of the posse, not standing out, not doing anything remotely exciting, and being a bit forgettable as a result. So thank you for watching this review, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang1, saying I'll be back next week with Hotspot, which sounds like something to tune in for, doesn't it? Until we see each other then, thank you for watching this. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Let's get a conversation going, and I will see you next week. Until then, take care. And when tomorrow comes